time seeing Maryland. Do they do anything different they haven't seen yet? Anything about their style of play that's going to really push you? Or?
Well, first of all, they have a lot of interchangeable pieces, and so their ability to change defenses, switch a lot, just use their overall athleticism. I think that's more than anything. Obviously, we're more familiar with the guys that have been there before. Dante Scott, Hakeem Hart, Julian Reese. But they have a good team. Jameer Young was a great addition for them. He's really made them go. He can break you down off the dribble. He can make plays for himself. He can make plays for others. I think that's going to be an important thing, is because they'll come and get you some, they'll jump you some, they'll zone you some, they'll mix in their man, they'll switch, they'll do different things to get you to freeze, to get you to kind of think and go slow, and you got to keep playing. You got to keep moving the basketball, you got to keep playing, you got to keep executing. If you constantly are sitting around wondering what they're doing, they've accomplished what they wanted. They want you to get there and just kind of be hesitant in what you're doing. But he's a really good coach, obviously, from the success he's had before, and he's done a really good job with his team.
The challenges of guarding Young, I know he's pretty talented. Just what makes him good?
Quick. He knows how to play through angles, kind of a stop-and-go guy. He can hesitate, cross you up, get by you. And, it's easier said than done, but you got to try your best not to give him angles. When he breaks you down, he's great at getting to the basket and making plays for himself or making plays for other guys. But he's a really good player.
The way your team played at Minnesota, I guess, give you a pretty good feeling about their ability to be consistent the rest of the season?
Give me a good feeling during the Minnesota game. Every day is a new day. You know what I mean? You got to make sure things can change. Things can change in guys' personal lives. Things can change in the league. Guys can get, in foul trouble, whatever it might be. There's a lot of factors that go into that. So that's what you're always leery of as a coach, is just keeping everybody on the same page, making sure everybody's, competing, because, everybody came here to start and play 30 minutes. You never lose sight of that. But the guys that are not in those roles, now, they're really important to your team. So keeping everybody on the same page and understanding how valuable they are to us, I think that's the important piece as a coach. Just keep working that angle and keep talking to those guys, because it's hard. Mm-hmm. It's hard. Guys have put in an extreme amount of time, and then sometimes it's I'm playing 10 minutes or I'm playing 20 minutes, and that's not what they signed up for. But when you're on a good team, the guys that make sacrifices, everybody makes sacrifices, but the guys that really make sacrifices to come off the bench, that can be the difference. That could be the difference in winning and losing.
Talked about their defense being keep you on your toes. Is Braden's evolution as someone willing to shoot in the pick and roll, is that high pick and roll something that can deter when you don't know what you're going to see?
Yeah, and that's what he has to be able to do. He has to take what defensive gives him. Sometimes the cross-court pass is open. Sometimes the lob's open. Sometimes he can get more layups. Other night it was a little bit of everything, and then they went under twice. So they would go under the first one and then go under the second one. They just dared him. He probably should have taken 4 or 5 more. But I thought he did a good job of just picking his spots and stepping up and shooting it. But we play Penn State, and the lob was open a lot, right? The game before that, a lot of cross-court passes were open. Then you play the next one, you get layups. So you just, don't have a predetermined thought. Just read the defense and trust your instincts.
I understand you've said before you were never really worried about Zach's cardiovascular, his endurance, anything like that. But just the way he's been able to be dynamic within your offense.
Right.
I think there was one possession where he sets a cross screen, bounces up, sets a high ball screen, and then rolls to the basket for a kind of finish.
Right.
Have you been able to use him on the move more than maybe you thought you'd ever be able to use him on the move?
Yeah, just so he stops his ball screen and doesn't overrun it. Sometimes he'll overrun the defender. Just stop it low and make that guard use that ball screen. But no, he moves well, for somebody his size. I think when you say he moves well, it's just not a general statement. It's for somebody that's that big. But no, he's always been a guy that can move like that. He's always been, been able to do that. So now it's just the discipline and the understanding of getting the right angle. So now they got to do something defending the ball screen that they don't want to do. A lot of big guys don't like to get detached from him. So you got to force his man to help a lot. When you force his man to help a lot in their shots, he gets those tip dunks. when they help a lot and they get away, now he gets good post position. So bringing him out actually helps him when he goes back in. That's why we set that ball screen so much in transition. It's because now they set it, now they got to stop the ball. If they don't, Braden goes into the rim. Well, now when he dives, they've gotten off of him. Now when they come back to him, it opens up gaps to drive, it opens up gaps to cut, but it also lets him establish a deeper position, and that guy's behind him.
How much more margin for error has just his effectiveness in pick and roll with Braden just giving you offensively that if you get knocked out of your initial offense, you can just fall back on that?
Yeah, well, we initiate a lot, especially in transition, with that. And so now when people take things away or they overdo things, if we're making shots, we stay with it. And now it gives us something to go to if we're not making shots, And so now we've been able to generate good shots at times and then miss them. It's basketball, right? Especially when you shoot from a distance. That's why people pack the lane. But now it allows us to go to something where it might not be, Braden's layup or Zach's lob. It's other people's shots, and just the mix of it, I think, has really helped us.
Has it been a change for you as a coach at all? I know you've got like 4,000 plays in your playbook.
Yeah.
To sometimes put it aside, just say, hey, we're doing pretty good with just this basic, simple action. Let's just ride that for a while.
Yeah, no question. Like trust what you're seeing. Going into a game, you feel like, this is what we'll run, this is what we'll look for, and then get into a game and then something's working. Like, don't go away from it and stay with it. Yeah, there's no question about that. You don't get bonus points for running 50 plays, and they're all different plays. Like, if you get to something that they struggle with, stay with it.
Offensively, looking at Maryland, what kind of challenge do you think they're going to pose for your defense?
Well, I think they have interchangeable pieces. Some guys with great length. Hart's a guy that can drive the basketball and shoot from deep and been around for a while, along as Dante Scott is a kind of a dribble down type guy that can post and can shoot from deep also. I think Jameer Young is that piece that has really helped him. They got Carey from Georgetown who can shoot the basketball. So you talk about the three guys I mentioned, now Jameer Young and his point guard play and his ability to make plays for himself and his team really helps him. And then Julian Reese is very athletic, good around the basket, good, changing shots at the rim. So that they have a very, very good starting five, but they have a lot of different weapons.
And then with the best start in program history, just thoughts on that? Obviously, I know the start doesn't matter, the end matters, but how do you kind of keep your team focused and not let them, get too excited about these milestones?
Yeah, you just keep moving to the next game. You cherish your wins, and then you wake up the next day, you move to the next game. And our guys have worked really hard, and we've done some really good things collectively, and we just got to stay with it. But we also got to stay on edge.
And then just any messages to kind of the players on that second team who, I know like Jenkins, Newman, they started out really strong in some of those exhibition games and early games, and now they're a few of them like Traycoff and Renner in a little bit of scoring ruts. Just how do you kind of keep them in it and maybe they're not out on the floor as much?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's really hard to be consistent when you get inconsistent minutes. So it's a hard, role to play. And, you just got to stay ready and keep your focus. And do the best with the time that you get. If you do that and you approach it that way, you're normally going to help yourself and get more time. And that's really the message for anybody who comes off the bench trying to help you, is just, play to your strengths, don't overdo things, and then just make the most of the minutes.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.